Kill your excuses, because the truth is that nothing is holding you back more than the stories you keep repeating to yourself every single day, the quiet lies you whisper when no one is watching, the comfortable explanations you use to justify staying exactly where you are while time keeps moving forward without asking for your permission. Because life does not pause, success does not wait, and opportunity does not knock twice for people who are too busy making excuses to answer the door. Every morning you wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, the excuses are already there, lined up like familiar friends, telling you that you're tired, that you'll start tomorrow, that today isn't the right day, that you don't feel motivated, that you don't have enough money, enough time, enough support, enough talent, enough confidence, enough experience. And the problem is not that these thoughts show up, because they show up for everyone. The problem is that you listen to them, you believe them, and you let them decide the direction of your life. At some point, you have to realize that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you discipline. Nobody is going to give you consistency. Nobody is going to force you to become the person you said you wanted to be, because self-made means self-decided. And if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, perfect timing, or perfect motivation, you'll be waiting your entire life, while others pass you by doing imperfect work with imperfect confidence but unstoppable commitment. Excuses feel good in the moment because they protect your ego, they give you comfort, they allow you to avoid responsibility. But every excuse you make today becomes a chain tomorrow, and those chains don't break all at once. They grow link by link, day by day, habit by habit, until one morning you wake up and realize you're trapped inside a life you didn't consciously choose, a life built by avoidance instead of action. You say you want more, but your actions say you're fine with less. You say you want change, but your routine says you want comfort. You say you want success, but your habits say you want convenience. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you do repeatedly, especially on the days you don't feel like doing anything at all. There comes a moment in every person's life when excuses stop sounding logical and start sounding expensive, because you begin to see the cost, the lost years, the missed chances, the versions of yourself that never existed because you chose fear over effort, comfort over growth, and explanation over execution. And that moment is painful, but it is also powerful, because pain can either paralyze you or push you, depending on what you decide to do with it. You don't need more motivation, you need more ownership, because motivation fades, but ownership forces you to act even when you're tired, even when you're bored, even when you're scared. Because once you take full responsibility for where you are, you also gain full control over where you're going. And that is a level of power most people never experience, because they hand it away to circumstances they refuse to challenge. Stop blaming your past because it's done. Stop blaming people because they're living their own lives. Stop blaming systems, luck, timing, or talent, because blaming anything outside of you keeps you weak, and strength begins the moment you say, "This is my life. This is my responsibility, and no matter how unfair it feels, I'm going to do something about it." You weren't born confident. You weren't born disciplined. You weren't born focused. You weren't born fearless. You became everything you are today through repetition. And the same process can turn you into someone stronger, sharper, more disciplined, and more dangerous to your old limitations, if you're willing to endure the discomfort of growth instead of the regret of staying the same. Kill the excuse that says you're too late, because as long as you're breathing, you're still in the game. Kill the excuse that says you failed before, because failure is not a verdict, it's feedback. Kill the excuse that says you're alone, because solitude is often the training ground for greatness. And kill the excuse that says it's too hard, because hard is not a reason to quit, hard is a reason to rise. There will be days when progress feels invisible, when effort feels unrewarded, when discipline feels pointless, and excuses will whisper louder than ever. But those are the days that separate people who talk about change from people who create it, because anyone can work when it's easy, but only the committed keep going when it hurts, when it's boring, when it feels thankless, and when no one is clapping. Understand this clearly. Winning does not care about your excuses. Success does not negotiate with your comfort. And greatness does not respond to potential. It responds to persistence. And if you want a life that looks different from the average, you must be willing to live in ways that feel uncomfortable to the average person. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, your habits, your standards, and your daily choices. So raise your standards, raise your expectations of yourself, and stop accepting behaviors that keep you small just because they feel familiar. One day, if you keep going, people will call you lucky. They will say you're gifted. They will say you're built different. But they won't see the mornings you woke up tired and still showed up, the nights you stayed disciplined when distraction was easier, the moments you chose growth over comfort, and the excuses you killed quietly when no one was watching. So decide today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, but today, that excuses no longer get a vote in your life, that action will speak louder than intention, that discipline will outweigh emotion, and your future will be built by what you do consistently, not by what you explain repeatedly. This is your moment to grind, your moment to rise, your moment to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you've been settling for. Because excuses end where responsibility begins. And once you kill your excuses, there is nothing left between you and the life you say you want. It starts now, it continues tomorrow, and it only ends if you quit. So don't.